Chicago Cubs. News today.
Look, two things happened in the last few hours that made me stop everything and come talk to you. One about a pitcher who arrived full of hope and just received some tough news. And another about Imanaga, where Counsell himself said something that gave me chills. Cubs fans, pay attention to this, because a situation involving the team has started to draw attention in the last few hours. News 1. Jack Neely optioned to AAA. The Cubs made another tough roster decision this week. According to Bruce Levine from 670, the score, right-handed pitcher Jack Neely, has been optioned to AAA. Neely is 25 years old, came in with a lot of expectations, and now will have to rebuild his path back through the minor leagues. It's not an easy piece of news to deliver, but it's part of the brutal reality of professional baseball. For those who don't remember, Neely came over from the New York Yankees at the 2024 trade deadline in a package that sent Mark Leiter Jr. and Ben Counsell to New York. At the time, fans were curious to see what this guy could bring to the bullpen. But the numbers didn't help. A 9.00 ERA in 2024, 6 earned runs in just 9 innings. Then came this year's spring training, and it looked like he had adjusted something. 4 scoreless innings, no earned runs allowed. There was reason for hope. But with Michael Conforto taking a spot on the 40-man roster, someone had to go. And Neely was the one. This move shows exactly where the Cubs are right now. The franchise is betting on immediate impact pieces. Conforto fits that profile perfectly. So the team doesn't have much room to wait for a young pitcher to find his level in MLB. It's tough, but it's the reality of a club that feels its competitive window is open right now. So let me ask you, Cubs fans, do you believe Neely still has a future in this organization? Because I know there are people who followed his spring training and got excited. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this content, make sure to like the video. It really helps the channel keep bringing you Cubs news every single day. The direct impact is simple. The bullpen remains an area the Cubs need to monitor closely. Removing Neely doesn't solve the problem, it just reshuffles the pieces. And look, I understand the logic behind the decision. If you have Conforto available and he can give you immediate offensive production, you make that move. But the truth is, the Cubs traded for a young talent from the Yankees and, so far, haven't been able to extract anything concrete from him. Behind the scenes, the word is that Neely will have space to work on his repertoire in AAA without pressure. The organization still believes in his potential. At least that's what's being said. But the clock is ticking. At 25 years old, he needs to show consistency soon, because the window to become a real piece in this rotation or bullpen isn't endless. Look, I'm rooting for Neely to find his way back. Seriously. I love when a young player overcomes struggles and shows up when nobody else believes anymore. But I also have to be honest with you. His MLB numbers so far don't support much optimism. Spring training was good, but spring training doesn't count on the scoreboard. What counts is what you do when the lights are really on. If Neely dominates in AAA and shows consistency, the Cubs could call him back up later this season, especially if the bullpen starts to struggle. Now, if the numbers down there remain inconsistent, his story in this organization could be nearing its end sooner than anyone expected. At the end of the day, this is life in baseball. Sometimes you do everything right in spring training, and still there's no room for you on the roster. Jack Neely now has a clear mission. Prove in AAA that he deserves a second chance in MLB. And who knows? Wrigley Field might still hear his name announced on an important day. News 2. Counsell says something concerning about Imanaga. Counsell spoke about Shota Imanaga after the loss to the Washington Nationals, and what he said didn't sit well. Imanaga allowed 4 earned runs on 6 hits over 5 innings, including a home run. Then Counsell told the Sun-Times, "Shota is going to give up home runs. It's the nature of the pitcher he is." Man, that's your manager talking about your starting pitcher. The issue isn't a single home run. Every pitcher gives them up. The problem is that this goes back to before Imanaga even arrived in MLB. When the Chicago Cubs signed him out of Japan, there was already concern. He gave up a lot of home runs in NPB. That trend followed him to America, and now, right in the first game of the season, the topic is back. The Cubs invested heavily in Imanaga. He's a central piece of a rotation on a team that wants to seriously contend in 2025. So when the manager goes public and basically says giving up home runs is part of his package, fans have every reason to feel uncomfortable. It's not pessimism. It's a legitimate question about what happens when this team reaches October and Imanaga is on the mound in a decisive game. What about you, Cubs fan? Does Counsell's statement worry you? Because we all know this fan base has a long memory. We've seen what a postseason series can do to any team when a pitcher gives up the wrong home run at the wrong time. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. I'm going to be straight here. What Counsell said wasn't unfair. He was honest. But there's a difference between being honest internally and saying it publicly. Because now every hitter in the league steps into the box knowing the manager himself confirmed Imanaga gives up home runs. That's free information for any opposing scout. And the psychological impact of that can't be ignored either. What's being said behind the scenes is that the Cubs are working with Imanaga on mechanics and pitch location to reduce home run exposure, especially with runners on base. Counsell's real concern, and he made it clear, is the 3-run home runs. Those are the game changers. A solo shot hurts, but a team can absorb it. 3 runs at once. That's a completely different story. Look, I still believe in Shota Imanaga. One game doesn't define a season. But I'm not going to pretend Counsell's statement didn't bother me. Because when you pay for a high-level pitcher and your own manager starts managing expectations in Game 1, yeah, I'm watching his next starts very closely. If Imanaga adjusts and limits home runs with runners on base, he can still be one of the best pitchers in this rotation. But if the pattern continues, especially in high-pressure situations, the Cubs may have to make tough decisions about who takes the mound in the games that truly matter. And October doesn't forgive. 2 tough stories in one day. A young pitcher sent down before getting the chance to show everything he's got. And a starter whose own manager already admits will give up home runs. The Cubs are a team we care about too much not to hold accountable when things need to improve. The season is just getting started, and that's exactly why every move matters right now. So tell me, do you still trust Shota Imanaga as an October piece? And if you want to support the channel and check out Cubs gear, the links are in the description. Fly the W, Cubs fans. Always.